Today welcome to Lost in Electronics, and today we're going to actually go through on one of the more common problems you may run into is ads. They can get very annoying. On a computer, you can use pop-up blockers, but for example, if you have like a smart TV or maybe you got some kids that you want to make sure they can't get to certain sites, or you just want to have the capability of kind of controlling like the YouTube ad pop-ups, and you want to do it for through the network instead of having a problem with each individual device. So there's two. What we're gonna do here is there's a great tool called pihold. What we're going to need in this case, what the materials we're actually going to need to use is a Raspberry Pi. And in my case, I'm using a Raspberry Pi 4. And it is the 2 gigabyte model. You can use any of the versions you would like. I have also 64 gig memory card, but you really only need about a 16. But the larger the card you have, the better off it's going to be for storing for logs and other utilities you may want to run. The first thing we're going to do here is you're actually going to go ahead and log into your Pi. And SSH, in my case, I have already done that here. So you normally log into the default Pi user. So you type in SSH Pi at and then your address. And then we're actually going to go to a great GitHub repository called github.com/pi-hole/pi-hole. We're going to grab this curl script right here, and this is going to help us install it here. So the first time you install it, you would actually go and paste that in here, and you would click on enter. It's going to do some local caching here, so it's going to update a page here. And it's going to ask you if you already installed it, then it's going to ask you if you want to update if you run the script again. Or in my case, I'm going to act like this is the first time we're setting up, so I'm going to tell it to reconfigure it. This is telling you that it's transferring this is installed to transfer your device to network wide and block ads. It's going to ask us what DNS server we're going to use. In our case, we're going to just go ahead and use Cloudflare's. It's going to ask us what kind of ad list we want to do, and we're going to keep the defaults. It's going to ask us do you want IPv4 and IPv6, which we're going to want to do here, so we're going to say yes. It's going to give us a current static address in case we want to go ahead and get to our Pi-hole. So we're going to go, it says you can set it, you can tell if you don't like this, we could reconfigure it. But in my case, I already got it configured, so we're going to let it use the default one here. It's going to ask us, do you want to install web add-in interface? And we're going to say yes. It's going to ask us, do we want to install the web server? We're going to say yes here. It's going to ask us, we want to query everything. Yes. Troubleshoot things. It's going to ask us about if you wanted it you have options what kind of logs you want to use. I want to show everything because I'd like to kind of filter everything out. So right now it's rebuilding it so that we can get this installed. This is the first time you're installing this. We'll install the Pi-hole software, so it'll take a few moments. If you have any kind of customized domains or anything, or if you want to block certain sites, you will see if you put any customized rules, you'll see them coming up here. If you there, and we'll show you how we can add those in case you do decide you want to there. I have a couple sites already blocked. In my case, Snapchat and TikTok is going to make sure that my kids weren't using them. But again, you may or may not want to use this same kind of rule sets. Tells us how we can actually log in and configure our Pi-hole, or even look at the logs here, or how to get the web interface. So we're going to click on OK here. And now our Pi-hole is now currently installed. So the next thing we're going to do here is how we access our Pi-holes. We're going to actually go here. So I'm going to go ahead and enter the website here. 10.0.0.173 is what I set it to, but you can there. We need to make sure it's a good idea to make sure we use the /admin. If you're not already logged in, it's going to ask you to log in. I've already logged myself in, so we can be able to do that here. Tells you your current temperature, shows you your whitelist, it shows you if you have any kind of ads or anything you want to block here, what queries, what websites here, and these shows us all our different queries we can use. And let's say, example, I want to use this as my primary DNS, so there's a couple different ways we can do this. In this kind of case, I'm going to go into their settings. I'm going to go to my network. I'm going to go to the IPv4. And I'm going to go ahead and what we're going to do here is where it says DNS to automatic, and I'm going to statically assign it to a address. So I'm going to use 10.0.0.173, and then we're going to go ahead and hit apply. That means my pihold will be the first thing my computer sees when it tries to inquiry a site here. Shows us all the inquiries that our device is using, what devices here. So we're going to go to settings here, and we're going to go to DNS, and I want to put every DNS request in here so that we can, it will have the most inquiries. And now when we go to a website, it's going to tell us when we go here. So we're going to go ahead and look at the one, since we have one query. Here's my machine. Here's where we've been here. So let's go ahead and try. Let's go ahead and get a couple different websites so we can show you what it's like here. Let's go ahead and try to go to youtube.com. And let's go ahead and play a video. So we can see it's going to tell us we have an ad. These ads do get annoying here. So what we're going to do here is we should be able to refresh this here in a second. And what we're
it's a new month and everything's changing. So much change.
It's going to take a few moments and we'll see your inquiry here from the machine. Here's where all our local requests has been to. It may be hard for my machine to see because I do have filters and scripting to try to block that, and my it may not be able to see everything because I do have my uBlock origin that's currently turned on, so it will, but it will show me that here anytime I go to inquiry.
This one, we've got a lot of work to do. We're going to try to make sure that we can contain this. We need.
So that's the Spectrum TV, so we should be able to see that here in a second when we go to our inquiry list, saying, hey, this computer has went to this device here, and here's all devices here. Query logs, here's every site that everything's been missed. If you want to update or diagnose pihold, this is going to show you right here. And then we're in a diagnose connections. Update query. It's going to update if they can is updating the current list. It's going to take some time. It is a Raspberry Pi, so it may take some time to do your updates here. Doesn't mean we can't do everything in the background to grab some history here.
Come in.
We'll put it pretty quickly because it does have some pretty good local caching. your Pi only has so much resources that when you're going between different screens to be able to identify. Right now, it's in the process of still updating. So in the case, we want to go ahead and show we have queries. We're going to go ahead and go to YouTube here. We're going to go ahead and play one of my other videos here. Hi, this is Lost in Electronics, and this is we're going to be going to what our video is going to be about today. Is we're going to be going through on some basics of port forwarding. That's one of my other videos that we have recently created here. And now we can see that we have some history on here. It tells us where we've been resolved, where all the queries are coming from. It tells us where all our connections in here. So we're going to temporarily turn off some of my plugins to kind of show you a little bit better examples of what's going on here. I randomly select a couple of YouTube videos. Now we should be able to go back to this page. It's going to show us our inquiries here. Shows us all our inquiries and shows them here. So we're going to make sure everything is going to keep on working here. So we're going to go ahead and turn off our wireless connections, and we're going to turn it back on. Now we got some more queries. Now you start seeing here's all our inquiries. So if you want to see where there's the restrictive, there's a YouTube, these are our views here. So we can actually block it or go through each of these. Are all the sites we've been going through. We have the Google, here's all the stuff. So we have plugins. Here's the Fedora here. So let's go back to YouTube. So randomly start selecting videos here. It won't get everything here.
Well, thanks for joining us for another episode of the news.
Today on the hookup, I'm going to.
So what you can always do is every single time you want to see if we have an ad or see if we want to make sure that we can get back to here. Let's go ahead and we can always block it. Like we can always do this. And we can block again here. We can show, here's how we can get some of this history here. Let's go ahead and go back to, here's our Spectrum website here for live video.
Association says COVID-19.
Spectrum News 1 out of Columbus, Ohio, but this showing you kind of inquiries. Now you can see, there we are. There's our live video. It shows us where we want to be able to go. Here's all our, here. So you got different things. Here is everything that when you load up a website, everything here. There's the original watch.spectrum. And we got our, these are all the parts of the website you can use with the inquiry. If you don't like something of it, you can always block it.
Go bargain with the Martians. Press.
So we're not going to show too much of the video because we don't want to get a copyright strike or anything on this. So we're just going to go ahead and show you. This is just mainly showing you have some inquiries here of websites we've been through. Here's our history. Here's where we've been. Here is authentication. Here's when the Hulu or anything else plays it here. If you want to, if we want to go ahead and block a statistics, we can do that here. Again, there is some other great plugins if you want to use uBlock Origin. That's one of the things I would use on here. The other thing is we're also going to go and we also have so we can actually check see if the website's trusted. And then we also have it where we have our privacy badger. So we can get that turned on there. And then I always want to make sure HTTPS and everything. And yes, we want to make sure we encrypt all our websites, because that makes it so it does a little bit more securely, which is what you saw before, why we couldn't see a lot of history on it, because if that's turned on, then you won't see any kind of queries. Let's say, example, maybe you want to get to a site that you really don't want to go to, or you don't want to see anybody have any kind of logs of. So we'd go to settings. We'd go into flush logs. Flush logs here. And then that would be it. And now we don't have it. Now when we go back to our statistics, you notice that we see the computer, but we don't show anything from our history here. So we'll go back here, YouTube. You can see it doesn't see that.
Today on the hookup, I'm going to
just gives it a white page, but you will see that you can see here. Now we can see the Google video here, so we can see that. If you want to block it, we can click on block if you want to unblock it there. So we do have this information, so we can see anytime we went to certain websites. And let's say, example, maybe you have a site that we do not want people to get to. So we're just going to go and use example of Amazon. We can go in here and block everything with the word Amazon in it.